How's everyone's trading week been? What was everyone's trading week like today? Sorry, this week. All good? Slow week? Yeah, for sure, for sure. Slow but profitable. Nice, 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 nice. Um, yeah, for me personally, just one trade on NQ that went BE. Nice, 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 nice. So yeah, we're gonna run the webinar. It's gonna be slightly different in a sense that because there was slow PA, we'll go through gold and NQ and any other pairs you guys want me to look at. And then we'll do like a Q&A, or we'll go through some or parts of the model which people are struggling with for sure. So feel free to ask your questions in the chat, and we'll get to it. So let's start with gold. I'm hoping everyone can see my screen. Let's start with gold. So we were speaking about how lows from the left were taken, okay, on a higher time frame. And we can see that, so I'm using the futures chart. Even if you look at the monthly time frame, we came and took lows, so we can expect a sort of reversal, in a sense that now that we've collected liquidity from the left, we can even take that low. Now that we've collected that liquidity from the left, we're now going to target the opposite liquidity pool. And you can see how we've had over the whole of July, to be fair, we were sort of ranging, okay? And as soon as we get into August, we have that expansion up. Now, if we look at this current week, okay, we can see that on Monday, okay, is where we came to these highs, okay? Tuesday then spiked, okay? And then we are sort of forming a top here, okay? Now, I am expecting, hopefully, a reversal from this area. We have all this liquidity built at the lows. Now, I don't want to catch, it's really important to know as you get experienced with the model, you kind of don't want to catch that top, okay? We've got loads of, I mean, all the way down to the lows, we've got loads of pips to catch, okay, if we are bearish, okay? So you can see we kind of formed the top here. On Fridays where we spiked these lows, okay? And then we have that bullish move back up. Now, I don't know at the minute if we formed that top. We do have liquidity above still, okay? We can see that there. So we're just going to have to wait for PA to form. We need more data in order to sort of take a trade. Now, what was really frustrating about gold is that it just left liquidity, okay, which was really frustrating. So if I now go back to some of the webinars that we looked at, we'll go on the hourly, okay. If you look at this sell-off, in fact, we'll go on from Monday because why not? Okay, so this is Monday. So this is where we opened. We induced higher. We took some highs out. Let me just show that. So we took these highs. Okay. And then we came back down, respected those lows. Okay. And then we moved away. 1 second. Just make sure that everyone can see my screen. Give me a second. Yeah, everyone can see my screen. We're all good. And just someone let me know in the chat. Yeah, we're all good. Okay, cool. So, yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, all right. So, yeah, just going back, so we can see how um we respected these lows, okay, and then we had that move away. So we've essentially left liquidity there on Monday. There was no trades on Monday on gold, to be honest. And then, sorry, my screen's just frozen. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. Um, just make sure this is. Uh, 1 second, everyone. Just give me a second. Just gonna. Yeah, I don't know if it's Discord or my screen. Just give me a second. Settings. Let me just fix this. 1 second, guys. Uh, okay, just give me a sec. Let me see if this works. Can you guys not hear me? Yeah, there we go. Sorted. Yeah, I think we're good. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so as I was saying, on Monday, you can see how we respected these lows and then we moved away. There's no trade here. We are in an LB. You can see how we had a breaker structure to the upside, came back down, respected it, and moved away. Okay, so nothing there on Monday. Now, Tuesday, you can see how we start to range. Okay, we're essentially building liquidity at this high to the left. So if I zoom all the way, okay, if I mark out this reaction sort of candle, so this is a large candle which caused, if we look at how many times we've tapped into it and moved away, okay? And if I just scroll all the way along, you can see how we tap into it on Tuesday, okay? And what I really like to see is a breaker structure, which we get, okay, on Wednesday, just before, yeah, in New York. So you can see how we have this breaker structure to the downside, okay? And then what happens is this is induced sellers from this area, okay, where lots of sellers have got in prior, and you can see these reactions from this area. So what do we come and do? We essentially react again, sellers being induced, and then we trap them. Okay, this trap here, okay, has essentially taken all that liquidity from the left. Okay, so the inducement from the left is taken. I'll mark that out. So now we can look for sales. However, I wouldn't look for anything at the extreme. I'm hoping everyone can see why we didn't take any trades on Tuesday, like in this area here. All we're doing here, yes, we've taken a high from the left. So we've taken this high from the left, okay? However, however, we haven't taken all of that liquidity from the left yet. Okay. So this would be low probability. Okay. I wouldn't take any shorts here because I don't think we're going to take that liquidity until we've taken all the liquidity from above. And look what we do. We take that liquidity from above. Okay. And I believe that was Thursday. Yeah. During Asia. And then you start to see that sell off. Now, is there an entry to these lows? Not that I saw, because all we've done after taking that high out is build liquidity. Okay, where have we built liquidity? Okay, we have built liquidity at these highs. Look how we tap into this candle. Okay, and then we move away, we break structure. Now, we have early sellers induced. If we are to go lower, okay, if we are to go lower, you can see where we've induced sellers now. So we want to see sellers trapped, essentially. Okay. Once we have sellers trapped and we have more PA to play off, you can see the liquidity that we can target. We're a long way down. But that's all that happened this week on gold. There wasn't anything too clean. Okay. There wasn't anything too clean. I wouldn't force a trade on gold either. Okay, it was just building liquidity after we've taken those highs out. Everyone clear with that on gold? Yeah, any questions on that? So for me, no trades on gold, to be honest. No trades at all. Yeah, if anyone got any questions on that? Yeah. So if you found yourself struggling with analyzing or dissecting gold, that's normal. Okay. There's no clear entry model. There's no clear direction at the minute. Okay. For all we know, we've now induced sellers. We can keep on going higher for the liquidity above. Okay. Next week we are bearish. Hopefully. I mean, if we look at the weekly close, it does look bearish to me. However, we can still come for all of these highs above. So we'll see. We're gonna have to wait to see what happens with gold. We want, now that it's induced sellers by taking out these lows, maybe we might have a run up to these highs. Okay. However, I won't be looking for any sells until we trap sellers. Okay. So I'll move on to NQ. I'll move on to NQ because I feel like we had better price action on NQ. Not many entries, but the direction was very clear. Adam, and if the price swept the liquidity above, we can short then, or we wait for what price does. So yeah, so let's say we've induced sellers, we come all the way back up, trap them, then I'll look for something. We need to have liquidity built. Okay, right now I don't see liquidity in this area. We've just taken the lows from the left. Okay, so I want to see liquidity built in the market. I'm hoping that makes sense. Yeah, I'll answer any questions on gold now before I move on. Yeah, I'll answer like the model related questions after I've dissected price action. Okay. So yeah, let's go to NQ. So yeah, these were my markings, but I'll clear them so you guys can see. So on a higher time frame, okay, we can all identify that we've induced sellers. Okay, we have liquidity to target at the highs. Now, if we break down what we did each day, okay, so Monday, you can see how we've come into a liquidity block on Monday. Okay, so Monday taps into that liquidity block and we start to have that sell off Monday, Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we have that expansion. Now, if we break down that price action, okay, look at how we'll start on Monday. Sorry. So we took this high out, okay, and then we come and we take this low, okay. I'm hoping everyone can see that this by taking this high and then this low, we've trapped early buyers, okay? We've trapped early buyers. So you can see these wicks to the upside, these wicks. And we've taken out, we've induced sellers with this move, haven't we? Yeah. Is it lagging? It could just be you because it looks fine on my side. Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, we've induced sellers with this move. Now check this, guys. This is why it was really difficult to dissect NQ because after we've now induced sellers, okay, if we respected that high, okay, and we came lower, I would have entertained an entry last week. However, we've taken a high out, okay, essentially buyers being induced. We come back down to this area, okay, we break structure, we respect this area, and we start to move away. Okay, we start to move away. And in doing so, we're building liquidity. So on Monday, all we did, okay, was come into a trap. Okay, that's all a trap. So we've built liquidity here now because we've moved away. So there's liquidity now at these highs. And we come all the way down. However, we don't come down and take the inducement low. Okay. And that's as simple as that. Until that was taken, until this was taken, I was not looking for any buys. Okay. I was not looking for any buys. Anything above this low, any buys above this low is risky. You'd have to have proper risk management. Nonetheless, you can see how we still have like an LB area, which price comes and taps into. We induce buyers. Okay, look, check this out, guys. So I think I've done this in a previous webinar. Look how we induce buyers. Where did we induce buyers from? Okay. We induce buyers from this area. Okay. And then we come and trap. Okay. Now, once we've trapped, okay, we now have sellers, okay, in the market. Yeah, we have sellers in the market. So this is now Tuesday. And if I zoom into price action here, we've induced sellers, okay? Sellers are looking to take positions, okay? Now, look at what we do here before we take this high out, okay? We induce buyers, This is all off the higher time frame. Okay. And we trap them. Now we don't take all that liquidity. However, if you wanted to get into like a higher time frame entry, that's where you would take it. Again, this would be low probability, higher risk because we haven't taken all that liquidity from the left. Okay. And then you would obviously just target the highs. Now, I believe that's an entry that Abid might have taken. I'm not too sure if it was here. Or what that's now done, another riskier entry would have been that if you're treating this as an LB, we then come back up higher into this sort of retail area. We tap into it and we take out some lows. So that could have also been a riskier play. And then taking it to those highs there. Okay. So you could have taken those on NQ if you were very confident with your direction. Now, I was in a sell. I can't remember which day it was, but I remember being in a sell. Yeah, it was Tuesday. I think I was in a sell from here. Yeah, here. I don't know if it was Monday or Tuesday. I was in a sell somewhere here. Low probability because we're sort of dealing with engineered liquidity. It was the same trade that Marco was in, the sell. I think he broke that down, but I just came back and got taken out break even. And then, yeah, that was Tuesday. I got taken out break even. Yeah. Okay. And then what we do is we then come up and we take this high. Now, once we take this high, okay, buys are off the table for me until we trap, which we didn't. Okay, we carried on. And then on Thursday, you can see we have that bullish move up. There's no entry here. We just have too much liquidity below. Okay. Now, once we have taken those highs out, okay, we have induced buyers here. There was a entry. I think it was on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check. So yeah, we've induced buyers. I'm sure it was Friday. We came up, took this high, and then we came and respected the lows. Yeah, it was here. So we came up, respected these lows. And then you can see how we move away. We break structure. Okay. So you can see where we've broken structure. We form an LB also here, where we induce sellers. And then we come up to trap them. You can see where we trap them here. We'll go down to the lower time frames to dissect that. So we've got a target. Yeah, we've got engineered liquidity at these lows. We've now formed an LB. All we need is a build up, which we get. Okay. We induce sellers. Exactly on the open, we induce sellers. And then we come all the way back up and trap them. Okay. We tap into that LB. That's a riskier trade. There is a confirmation, I believe. So that move there is now induced. So yeah, we'll stick to the 1 minute. But yeah, it just looks more complicated on the 1 minute. All we've done here is formed an LB. We could have taken an entry here. Or what you could have done is waited for that confirmation. Okay, so we tap into an LB at the lows. And then we take out all of those early sellers. Okay, so that's a confirmation that you could have taken. and then you would have just targeted. So it would have been an entry like this. I would have just covered the highs. Okay. I would have just covered the highs and then just targeted the lows. So like a 1 to 9 or something like that. Yeah. So that's a trade that you could have taken on Friday, to be fair, on NQ. Any questions? Yeah, that was basically NQ. You took a buy end of Friday. Yeah, I just wouldn't be doing that. We've taken highs from the left. No, you wouldn't be buying NQ. It's very simple why you wouldn't be buying NQ. Okay. There was no longs, no, no. In the first trade, how do you decide which one should be treated as the relevant breaker structure inducement? In the first trade, let me just go up a time frame. Yeah, as soon as it's like, for example, takes this low, okay, it's talking about this here, this entry here. So that's an inducement, isn't it? It's induced sellers. Yeah. What's going on, Elijah? What's going on? I don't really want to go into detail with my shorts because it was quite low probability and with engineered liquidity. So I wouldn't have taken. I wouldn't like, especially if you're new, you shouldn't be taking those type of trades. You'd only want to be looking for pro bias trades as a beginner or someone who's learning the model for sure. Okay. So yeah, no, I wouldn't take any shorts. Okay. Until those highs were taken, you should not be shorting NQ. Yeah. I'm hoping we're clear with that. But yeah, the Friday shorts were definitely there. Okay. The Friday shorts were definitely possible. Yeah. I'm hoping we've all understood the shorts on Friday. Yeah. There was actually a direct and confirmation entry on Friday. This guy, what's going on, Assad? Um, right. Yeah. Oh, JPEL with indices, you want to stick to NQ, YM, and then just take the trade on your CFD broker. Yeah. Um, there's a reason behind it, but yeah. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much like the PA on NQ and gold. I genuinely like don't think this week was just really slow in terms of entry models presenting. I mean, the direction on NQ was very clean, but not many entries possible, or no entries for myself anyway. Um, Same with gold. Like the direction just wasn't clear for me. After taking those highs, I mean, we could have shorted, but just no entry model. Um, um, yeah, feel free to ask questions, guys. That's pretty much everything I wanted to go through. Like, there isn't any other kind of there's Euro AUD we can look at. I mean, something that I've been looking at is Euro AUD on FX. Direction next week on NQ. I think we continue going higher. I do think we continue going higher. Obviously, we want to see some buyers trapped first. No, there wasn't an entry. There's just too much liquidity below to be confident in taking that long back up. Yeah. Um, yeah, if we just look at what is the win rate of your strategy? It varies, but I would say roughly between 40 and 70%. Yeah, 40 to 70%, I would say, is the average win rate. Um, I'm currently collecting data on my trades. I'm on around like 68%, I would say. Okay, so yeah, let's just look at Euro AUD. So you can see how on a higher time frame, we've just got loads of liquidity at the lows to target. The weekly looks really bearish. Okay, so we've taken out highs, induced buyers. We have all this liquidity below. So all that liquidity below. Um, and this is how I approach the charts, to be honest. Like I start on the weekly, I get my higher time frame bias. I look at where we might have broken structure from. So you can see this breaker structure in the previous week from this area. So we now have liquidity at these lows. And I do think we're coming for these lows on Euro AUD for sure, 1.62540. And what confirmed it for me was this. Okay, so there was an entry on Tuesday, and there was an entry on Friday on both on this pair, both shorts. I'll let you guys go back and back test that, but yeah, you can see how we tapped into this area, broke structure, induced buyers, came back to the lows, okay, and then we trapped these early sellers. So there's an entry there. It's the exact same thing played out on Tuesday, okay, took out highs, early sellers, trapped them, okay, and there's that short. Now, I would, if I was in that, I would be holding it to these lows for sure. I would definitely be holding that if I was in this. Okay. Um, yeah. No, I'm collecting data through one of my funded accounts in terms of my win rate. I don't use TradeZilla, but yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I've heard some really good stuff about it. Um, Honestly, I would recommend you get the hang of CFDs and higher time frame. And then once you've mastered the higher time frame, you can then go down to the lower time frames. Um, Suresh, I think I don't really understand your question, but I kind of get what you're saying. Like how much liquidity needs to get taken. I think that's what you're asking. We don't know that. Like we react to liquidity being taken. Okay, we don't kind of guess where liquidity is. So on gold on the higher time frame, there's definitely liquidity above. Um, so there's definitely liquidity above that price can hunt first. So you want to just let more data print on gold, I would say for sure. Um, I'm currently on the short on the 15 minute. Is that Euro AUD you're in the short on? Nice. USD CHF. Who trades that? I'll get back to your question, Conquer. Yeah, that you can wait for that. That's not a problem. USD CHF. I don't know who trades that, but let's look at the higher time frame. Yeah, like why would you trade this? Let's just zoom in. So we've taken some highs from the left. Okay. Had that reaction down. We're building liquidity. Yeah, I just looking at this. This is what you guys need to like sort of get used to. Like once you've just seen the higher time frame and it's not clear, like it's just not clear. Like why would you trade this? Does that make sense? That's it for me. Yeah. Who was that? Pratap. Yeah. Do you guys want me to like dissect anything from the start and show you like my thought process? Any pairs you guys want me to look at? This guy answered corn. uh, yeah, feel free to put all your things in. I'll look at all of them. Let's look at Bitcoin. I had something marked out on Bitcoin. Um, it was just horrible PA, I think, on Bitcoin. Yeah, you can see how it's just terrible PA. We're just ranging. Okay, we're obviously waiting for. One second, let me. With Bitcoin, it's pretty simple what we're looking for, right? I'm hoping we can all see it. Like we've induced sellers, okay, and we've built liquidity at the highs, and so all we're waiting for is these highs to get taken. Okay, you shouldn't be shorting Bitcoin at all. It's just as simple as that. Okay. Inducement highs and lows. Have you watched Elijah? He has a YouTube video. Marco has a YouTube video. Yeah. I don't know what hyperliquid is. My thought process approaching the charts. It's sort of like it's sort of like just analyzing the higher time frame down. I look at who's being induced on the higher time frame. That's my starting point. If the direction isn't clear on the higher time frame, there's no point even me looking below the 1 hour. You know? Yeah, I'm from the UK. Yeah, Chris, that looks pretty cool. 24-hour time frame. You mean the daily? Yeah, that looks good. I'm starting to prefer CFDs better or more than futures at the minute. I'm just performing much better on CFDs. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Is it possible I can meet you? In London. Maybe we'll have a link up one day. Maybe. maybe. Yeah, food on you for sure. I'll come through. Um, any other pairs you guys want me to look at, or any questions on the model or anything? Feel free. Um, after we created an LB and took the high, I wanted the lows to be taken before the longs happen. Is that correct or something wrong? Is that GBP USD? Yeah, you know what? GBP USD was an interesting pair. I had something marked out on that. Um, so yeah, if we look at GU, okay, um, we look at it from the weekly time frame. In fact, you can see how, again, really ugly PA because we're just in a range. But if we look at what we did, if I zoom in, if we look at what we did in the previous weeks, we took this low, induced sellers, and then we've just come up and taken those highs this week. So you would have been bullish, to be fair, on GBP USD. And then if you go to the daily time frame, if we look at what we did on Monday, so let me just zoom all the way in so you guys can see this. So you can see how, one second. Yeah, so you can see how we come up to the highs, we respect the highs, okay? We break structure, we induce buyers, and then we come to trap them from Monday to Thursday, okay? Once we've trapped them and we've tapped into like an LB area, you can see how we have that bullish move up on Friday. So I wouldn't have looked for shorts, to be honest, on GU. Just looking at the daily. Oh, you're in longs on. Where's London? Oh, where in London? Silver. Okay. Check out Jer 40. Okay. I'll have a look at oil in a second. But yeah, I'm hoping you guys can see where I just focus on the higher time frame first. I'm not trying to force any trades. Yeah, the higher time frame is so powerful. Okay. It doesn't matter how good the model looks on the lower time frame. The higher time frame is what matters. Yeah. Um, I'll look at German 40. I don't think, I'm sure it's trading at all-time highs, right? Yeah, what about it? There's nothing there for me. We're just building liquidity at the lows, taking out highs. Yeah, I'm not sure what you want me to look at. Damsey, yeah. I just said you wouldn't take shorts on GU. Yeah, yeah, it's engineered. Then you just wait, Conquer. You just wait. How many hours I should backtest as a beginner? That's up to you. You can do like 100 hours of backtesting and learn nothing. Yeah. Feel free to drop your questions. I don't mind answering them. This is more like a Q&A, to be fair. Uh, the DXY. Let me have a look. I have something marked out, I believe. Um, I'm actually bullish. I do want these highs taken, hopefully. So now I want these lows gone, these lows to go, and then hopefully we tap into this LB area, and then we have this bullish move up, and then I want to see it die essentially. Once those highs go, look at the liquidity we've built at the lows. I just want to see the dollar die basically. Yeah. Um, silver. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot. Is that silver CFD or is that on the futures? I'm assuming it's the silver USD, right? That's XAG, right? Yeah. You're long on silver. Um, yeah, it makes sense. So notice the inducement before we took out. Oh, nice. I'm assuming you're in this trade. LB below. Is that what you're in? Right now we've taken some highs, having a pullback. I'll let Abu know. Thanks for the feedback. I'd definitely partial at 67.149. I'll definitely partial here if you are in this. Yeah, we want to see buyers trapped on NQ. Yeah, USD CAD, the direction is clean. Yeah, that's a good trade, Conga. That's really good. Why did you mark the candle on the left? Which candle? This candle? So it caused the breaker structure down. No, I don't need to go lower, man, on German 40. There's just nothing there. Oil? Yeah, we can look at oil. We want the indices on oil, don't we? Why is it not coming up? Sorry, we want the futures. Let's have a look. Yeah, we're just moving higher. Haven't taken any significant highs, built liquidity. Yeah, I just think we're going to have higher prices on oil for sure. Yeah, I think we move higher on oil for sure. Yeah, the direction on USD CAD for sure. Um, how much time it took you to learn this model? Um, I'd say like a year and a bit. Yeah, I wouldn't be longing on NQ. Like 3 to 5 a week. Depends on the PA. Depends on the PA. Yeah, I don't really care about the 1 minute if I'm honest. I already went through GU, Abhishek. EU. I haven't looked at EU. Let me have a look. One sec. So we've basically tapped into this LB on the weekly, and let's have a look. Um, you can see in terms of how we sort of like GU induced buyers, trapped them on Thursday and Friday. We had that expansion up. Um, would I have taken anything though? Let's have a look. Hmm. Nah, not really. I would have waited for these lows to go for it to be higher probability. But once we trapped, we moved higher. Maybe on Friday there was a long. Yeah, there was. Again, too much liquidity on the downside. In lifetime, I don't think I would have taken that during Asia as well. Yeah. I don't trade gaps. I don't trade stocks. I wouldn't know. Gold, I'm not sure long term. I do want it to short, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. YM. Yeah, sure. I'll look at YM. Um, I don't understand what you want me to look at though. Let's go on the daily. What am I looking at? We're at all-time highs. You think we come all the way down to these lows on YM? I'm not sure. No, I would avoid taking counter bias moves, especially if you're new. Yeah, if you're new, I would just avoid it. Yeah. But yeah, not to be fair, on YM, if we this would have been nice. Is it Tuesday to these lows? Yeah, if we got in after taking these highs, I don't think there was an entry there. Did we take that? Yeah, we did. We took the lows here. Yeah, no, nothing on YM. We're just building liquidity at the highs now. Maybe we see a move up. Yeah, not much PA to go off this week, to be honest.